Hi all, this is Once and Future Gamer and welcome to another Pokemon challenge. Last time I took a stab at Pokemon Black with a single Patrat, which, very fun effort. This time though, we ramp up the potential difficulty and see if I can beat Pokemon Emerald using a team of Seedot and Sunkern. Okay then, so let's talk about Sunkern first. This thing has notoriety as being one of the weakest Pokemon ever. Our base stats are pretty bad with 30 across the board, and wow, that is worrying. 180 is up there with the weakest for sure. We do at least get an okay learn set. There's some good grass moves here. Endeavour is quite nice potentially, but as a strategy I don't know how it will work. We do get some useful TM moves. Sludge Bomb could be okay. There's Return, Hidden Power, Facade, so we'll see. Let's talk about the powerhouse of the run in Seedot. Yeah, I used that phrase. We've got the same special stats and speed, but our HP and physical stats are a bit better than Sunkern. Our defence is downright amazing compared to everything else that we're working with. Both of these Pokemon are grass type, so weak to flying, poison, bug, fire and ice, resistance to ground, water, grass and electric. What does let Seedot down is the natural learn set. We only begin with Bide and don't really get an attacking move until level 13. Ignoring nature power, the only other attacking move we get is Explosion, which actually might be useful. Seedot does at least get some TM coverage with Bullet Seed, Dig, Shadow Ball and all the other moves that might be expected, so we'll see. This challenge was suggested by Pokemon Master Dracana as a YouTube submission. It's either Dracana or Drasana, one or the other. As always, if you have any ideas for future challenges, head to the comment section down below or follow the links in the description to my Twitter or my Discord. Thanks for watching folks, the rules are on the screen throughout, and if you do like what you see then like, subscribe and ring that bell. Let's get it on. I use the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace Trico with Sunkern so that I can do the whole run with it. I don't think we can get Sunkern in this game, or at least not easily, and we can catch Seedot as an early route Pokemon, so this makes a great deal of sense. I chose to replace Trico so that our rival would have Torchic, which would be the hardest for us to fight. It takes quite a while because we are weak and don't hit hard at all, but we do eventually save Professor Birch from being mauled and he gives us the Sunkern, who we nickname Colonel. That is the whole truth. Colonel has the careful nature, so more special defence and less special attack. Well, I suppose it is nice to be less fireproof, and also we have the chlorophyll ability, so more speed in sunlight, which makes us more flammable, so I will dispute if that's actually useful, but well, we've got what we've got. I do a bit of training ahead of the May fight, hunting Zigzagoon to raise our speed EVs up. Our stats are all even, in theory, but I wouldn't mind being that bit faster because sooner or later we're going to have the need for speed. Zigzagoon aren't consistently coming at us at this point. I don't want to fight Poochyena and Wurmple, and those things are way too common. I mean, come to think of it, this is how it works in my experience. If you want to grind up on a certain something, you can guarantee everything but that opponent is going to regularly appear. I think it's just irony or something like that. Eventually, we go over to do the fight with May soon after, and we are at level 8 when it begins. We have growth and I start to spam that move over and over and over since her Torchic resists Absorb and we are not going to do much damage. Our first Absorb after about 4 growths is a crit and that sets us on our way nicely. Our Absorbs don't do a lot under normal circumstances, but thankfully we can heal more health than we get damage dealt, and as a result we soon win. Right then, we have the Pokédex, we have Pokéballs, time for us to go and catch our Seedot then. This is something that I think shouldn't be an issue in any way, shape or form, and it isn't too long before we encounter one at level 10. Now, for some reason, and I have no idea why, I go for a bunch of growths and yet I still think it should survive an Absorb. But, of course, we end up critting the move and it goes down for the count very quickly. and that's me thinking that we'll not be hunting much longer. Believe it or not, I'm still at it 3 hours later, and Colonel has levelled up massively in that time, as we wipe out the entire local population of Lotad, Zigzagoon and Rolls. Well, I don't think Roxanne is going to be a problem. 1% encounter rate Seedot on this route. I genuinely feel like there's more chance of me encountering a shiny than a Seedot at this point. Ooh, imagine if I get a shiny Seedot. I could trade for one in Rustboro, but I'm going to stick at this for a bit longer yet. I get one eventually, and I don't waste any time in trying to battle it. Instead, I go for one of my great balls and throw it hard, catching it at the second attempt. Arceus bless the Zigzagoon Pickup Brigade for giving me these better catching implements, because I did not fancy hunting for another several hours. And when I do catch it, I nickname the Seedot Acorn and have a peek at the stats. Acorn has the quiet nature, so increased special attack and lowered speed. Okay, that's not entirely ideal, since I was wanting to use it as a physical attacker and our speed was already less than optimal. Oh well, time to go and do the first trainer fight of the game, who isn't the rival. I train up a bit, and before long I show up at the rock gym ready to go. My plan is not to use my hugely overleveled Sunkern unless I really need to. There probably will be a chance that I need to, but we will worry about that later. First bit of the game shouldn't be too bad, but once we hit Cycling Road and that rival fight, the difficulty level will probably spike, since that rival fight is traditionally quite tricky. Watson's Magneton will probably be its usual level of fun, which is probably on a par with having a tooth out without anaesthetic, and Flannery will probably be absolutely horrific. The rock gym though is easy as expected. When the fight begins, I power up with Growth on Acorn, but the Geodude smacks us with a rock tomb that really hurts, and lowers our speed, which is worse, but we do at least Bullet Seed it down after getting hit with Rock Throw. The second Geodude leaves us on red health with Rock Throw, but we shoot it down with Bullet Seeds. The bad news is that Nosepass is faster and immediately takes Acorn out with Rock 2. Oh well, over to you, Colonel. We use Growth and then get crit with Rock 2 for nearly half our health, which, not ideal, before Nosepass uses its free shot to go for block, which is not going to do her a whole lot of good, especially as we blast it with Mega Drain. It's a tale of two tackles as we go for another Growth. Nosepass lands one tackle and misses another before we suck the life out of it with another Mega Drain, and we take the victory. On the way out of town we have the May battle, and this actually doesn't go how it normally does, though I will hold my hands up and say it is my fault, I make the error. She begins with the Lotad and I take the chance to power up Acorn, going for a few growths, while Lotad hits us with Nature Power, Come Swift and Astonish attacks, before we take it out with some Bullet Seeds, mostly unhurt but not by much. Versus Torchic, I mean to go for Nature Power but click Harden by mistake, and it takes us out with Focus Energy and 2 Embers, though we hurt it somewhat with Nature Power, Come Swift. Colonel comes in, and despite being a decent amount of levels higher, we get messed up by the Ember, we can't hurt it enough with Mega Drain, and we actually lose the Rustboro City rival fight. Oh dear. I go again straight after and make the conclusion really, eventually, that growth isn't going to do us a lot of good. I do go for a few Hardens, but instead spam Nature Power repeatedly to take out the Lotad and the Torchic before things can go wrong, utilising Acorn's coverage move rather than the stab. I do feel like things will only improve once we start getting coverage, and like I said, Dig and Shadow Ball might be really good on Seedot. Into the Dewford gym we go, and it's time for the fight with Brawley. I always feel like this fight is harder than it needs to be, considering who some of the second gym leaders in the franchise have as their aces. Mah-Dry-Bread always feels like it shouldn't be as much of an issue as it is. Colonel begins the fight and we drop Roots versus Machop to set up Ingrain before going for growth attacks while it spams Bulk Up. We soon switch to Mega Drains, and when he heals we go for another growth, but thanks to the Bulk Ups we soon get hurt and have to start sucking the life out of it before we go down. Eventually though, and very eventually, we bring Machop down. Meditite is always easy if you know how to handle it. It only has one attacking move, and that is Focus Punch, so if you just keep hitting it then it can't actually hurt you. That's the secret. Of course, since we're not getting hurt, we don't lose any health, we only regain it as we take it out with Mega Drains. Mah-Dry-Bread is the problem, as again it spams Bulk Ups and we can't quite do enough damage with Mega Drain to 2-hit that. And thanks to the Citrus Berry, thanks to him dropping heals, we can't quite hurt it enough before it punches us out. And despite Acorn's best efforts, Seedot can't really do anything to Mah-Dry-Bread either. The best move we have for the job after the Bulk Ups is Bullet Seed, and it simply doesn't do enough damage to hurt it. Even enough, and with the Bulk Ups it trashes Seedot fairly quickly. I do some grinding because if we are struggling here, then we are probably going to need to be stronger for the upcoming fights for sure. Famously, we're struggling for moves at the moment, we don't get much via level up, we don't get access to any truly juicy TMs, and so powering up is the best bet. I come back in and set about Brawly with Colonel. I repeat my same strategy as before, going for Ingrain and then some growths. This time it starts hitting us with low kicks, so we can take those all day and I get 3 growths off before starting to Mega Drain. And we take both Machop and Meditite down with the move before facing Mah-Dry-Bread. I go for another growth while it bulks up, and then we put it on red health as it bulks up again and eats the Citrus Berry. But we take it out with our second Mega Drain. 2 badgers down! Next bit should be unpleasant. We have the rival fight and May's Combusken. We have the Electric Gym and Watson's Magneton, always a nightmare. And then there's Maxi with his Zubat and Camerupt. Then the Fire type Gym. So this could be about to get nasty. We lose the first May fight thanks to me making a tactical error and kicking the fight off early before I was set, meaning that between Wingull and Combusken they can soon whittle my team down very easily, so that effort is pretty much a wash. But the winning attempt goes much better as Acorn does manage to down Wingull with a pair of Swifts. It only goes to Growl and Wing Attack. The Growl isn't great because Nature Power turning into Swift is our best chance of hurting Combusken, and that turns out to be true when we hit it with 2 of them, critting the second to leave her starter weak. Combusken does finish Acorn off with Ember though, meaning Colonel has to come in and finish Combusken because somehow Sunkern is faster than Combusken in this instance. Not sure how, but oh well. Then Colonel has to beat Lombre, and although it is somewhat of a slow process, we even have to go for a few growths to make sure we hit harder, otherwise we will be here all day. We'd soon bring it down with Mega Drains. Watson is next, but before that I head into Rydals, and I took the Acro Bike, just in case you were wondering which one I took. If you were thinking about asking something about YouTube algorithms and all that shazazzle, just because it's derivative does not mean it's not funny. See, I'm laughing. This is my laughing sound. The Watson fight largely depends on us not getting paralysed if we want victory. In fact, avoiding status afflictions full stop seems like a great idea. That plan goes out of the window on the first effort when Voltorb paralyses us with a Spark on the first turn, and we try to get 6 growths going. But it all comes to an end when we finally get that, and Voltorb's quite reasonable mature response is to self-destruct on us. Acorn does his best but simply cannot win, as even with us powering up versus Electrike, we simply just get outsped and ended by Magneton. So I make another try, and this time I get way more luck, as Voltorb goes mostly for shockwaves, which we can tank all day. And also crucially, as we're powering up with growth, we never get paralysed. Voltorb does blow up on us, but we can survive it this time, and we hurt Electrike real bad, getting another growth off while it heals. We can just about heal more than Magneton can damage us with. We land Mega Drains and it keeps going for Sonic Booms rather than Thunder Wave or Supersonic, which, very weird because that is half the difficulty with Watson's Magneton. But we soon managed to actually bring it down and face Manectric, and it's just a case of keep on Mega Draining over the course of the fight, and eventually, very eventually, we bring it down with little trouble and we can move our way on north. Some trivia about these two then. Let's start with Sunkern. According to several Pokédex entries, Sunkern subsides itself on drinking morning dew from under the leaves of plants. It has the lowest base HP stat and lowest base stat total of all grass-type Pokemon, as well as being tied with Lotad and Bramblin for the lowest base defense stat of all grass types, and also Bellsprout and Seedot for the lowest base special defense stat of all grass type Pokemon. Yeah, it bad is the general gist of this conversation. Sunkern shares its category name with the Bulbasaur evolution line. They are all known as the Seed Pokemon. Sunkern and Sunflora are the only Pokemon to have Early Bird as a hidden ability, and since Black and White 2, Sunkern has the lowest base experience yield of all Pokemon. For Seedot, it is one of the easiest Pokemon to catch in Pokemon Ranger, tied with Magikarp, Rattata, Ninjask, Pichu and Goldeen. It can be seen as a parallel to Lotad, as both are Gen 3 grass-type Pokemon found in the same areas in their respective versions, with Seedot being exclusive to Ruby and Lotad to Sapphire, as well as being able to be found in Diamond, Pearl and Platinum by using the dual slot mode on the DS with the respective version of the game in. They are also part of a 3-stage evolutionary line and need an evolution stone to reach their final form, as well as both having a base stat total of 220 and an ability that doubles their speed in certain weather conditions. Seedot appears to be based on an acorn. Sunkern appears to be based on a shooting sunflower seed. I feel like the Mount Chimney Maxi fight is going to be horrific. I'm actually a little more confident about the Fire Gym, since Seedot has Dig now, but that's not going to do us a massive good versus Maxi's Zubat, who, I will add, does quad resist our Grass Stab, and that is our only real way of hurting it, which means this is not going to be pleasant. Believe it or not, we actually do this first try, as Mightyena doesn't turn out to be quite as irritating as it is known to be on certain occasions. I just hunker down and try to go for 6 growths with Colonel, Ingrain first, then just power up. It only goes for 1 sand attack that I remember. It did try to roar us out, but bless Ingrain, it doesn't work before we managed to take it out eventually with Mega Drain at like the 2nd or 3rd attempt. Camerupt is never really a problem, it only goes for magnitudes on us and we are quite resistant to ground type moves, we soon shrug them off. Camerupt does avoid taking too much damage from our grass moves, and I can't help feel like this is going to come back and bite me when I face Flannery soon. We do eventually bring it down with Mega Drains and then face Zubat. Even with our special attack at +6, our Mega Drain doesn't do that much, it takes quite a while to bring it down, but that could have been so much worse. Flannery then, and this is absolutely brutal. We make our first try on her with both Colonel and Acorn in the high 30s level wise. It takes an absolute time to get around the gym since I forgot the way to her. It is moderately annoying for this gym for navigation. Numel is never a problem and I try with both Acorn and Colonel. We can deal with Numel relatively easily, but Camerupt out straight after is something that we cannot one-hit, and it turns out to be a massive issue. I make several tries and it doesn't work out well on any of them. and a lot of those efforts we don't even make it past Camerupt, prompting me to decide to come back later. I rock back up with both of them at level 41, and it arguably still doesn't make much more of a difference, which very frustrating. We are still not surviving overheats, perhaps not a surprise. We're still not capable of inflicting much more damage on Camerupt. We are hitting hard, but not hard enough. There are some efforts where we do get past Camerupt and Slugma even, because that thing's rarely an issue, but there are no efforts where we get past Torkoal. Even when we come back a few levels higher, Torkoal is still a bit too much. There is one effort where I drop an explosion on Torkoal with Acorn, which takes it out, but since that's a Pyrrhic victory at best, it doesn't count. What levels am I going to have to be out here? I feel like if we could get 3 growths going with Colonel, we could potentially one-hit Camerupt, but Numel is very unpredictable. Some efforts it goes for takedown and magnitude, other times it just spams overheat repeatedly, or sunny day and then overheat, and guess what? That is fatal! I make the choice then to level up both Pokemon to level 50, and then make a stab again, determined that this might be the turning point. Levels are quite important because not only do we have this fight, but we've also got the flying gym in the very near future too, and that could be just as bad. Anyway, I have a plan here and it requires some fortune, but the very first attempt goes like this. We get 2 growths going for Colonel versus Numel. We do get hit with 2 overheats, but survive them both, which very fortunate. It's not pretty, but we do it, before we can then take it out with a Giga Drain. Camerupt, this time we can also one hit with Giga Drain to put us 2 up, before Slugma comes out and I switch into Acorn. Slugma only goes for Sunny Day, which benefits us because of our ability, and then we take Slugma down with Dig. Torkoal is last. I call for Explosion to take it out in 1 hit. Thankful that we do drop it with the move, because I don't think Sunkern would have had a lot of joy there if we hadn't beaten it. But that gives us the badge. Heading over to the normal gym then, and this should at least be easier than what we've just had to do for sure. I mean, Norman can be tricky sometimes, but I'm not expecting it to be really awkward or problematic here. We've got double the number of Pokemon we normally use for one thing. Colonel faces Spinder, and we go for 2 growths while also getting hit with Facade and Teeter Dance. We are only confused for 1 turn though. We do hit ourselves and get clumped with another Facade before we heal up with Mega Drain. Spinder survives though, hits another Facade, and because I know he's going to heal, we use another growth on the free turn. We then take it out with Giga Drain and do the same to Vigoroth on the next turn. Linoon is faster and goes for Headbutt, but we don't flinch and we take it out with Giga Drain. Slacking is faster and goes for Yawn, but even with the health recovery from the Citrus Berry, we can take it down with 2 Giga Drains before we fall asleep to give us the 5th badge. I'm on the road to the flying gym now, and well, this could be a rough gym, or it might not be too bad. We don't even have any super effective moves to this gym, or even regular effective moves, since all we have attacking wise are grass and ground moves. I might swing by Mount Pyre and get the Shadow Ball TM, but it's still not going to be massively helpful. I did pick up Sludge Bomb from Juford, also not going to help with the Skarmory. I think my best option is to see what our hidden power types are and take it from there. Hopefully one of them is electric or something like that. I do test the hidden power on both of my team members. I feel like this is quite possibly the worst possible outcome. So, Sunkern's hidden power is not very effective on a Tailo, meaning that it's either bug or grass type, which pretty poor. Seedot's hidden power doesn't affect a Swallow, meaning that it's either ground or ghost type, which we can get moves for anyway via TM, so that's very irritating. Oh well, easy come, easy go. We have to fight May outside the Weather Institute, and I'm not too concerned about the whole thing. Everything after the Cycling Road rival fight is pretty much downhill in terms of difficulty, so yeah. She begins with Pelipper, and in Gen 3, we know that means annoying protect spam. I use Seedot, and despite that protect, we soon shoot it down with Bullet Seed. Combusken is next. We are faster and take it out with Dig, before Lombre does use Fake Out and a bunch of Nature Power comes Swifts, but we take it out with a flurry of Bullet Seeds to give us the win, and we can move on. I need to consider my strategies for the Flying Gym because grass and ground moves aren't going to get the job done. I'm probably going to skip past this gym for now and move deeper into Hoenn, head over to Mount Pyre and Lily Cove City. I want to go and get some TMs to make things easier. Now, fun little aside, I was having a discussion recently with Pokemon Master Dracana about this challenge because they sent it in about 5 months ago as a comment on the Pokemon Crystal with Misdreavus challenge. I can't believe that was 5 months ago. That was Halloween. How was Halloween 5 months ago? Then, about a month later, so late November, December time, Papa C did the same challenge. I've not watched that video. I've had it on my watch later since it came out, but to this point, I've never gotten around to it. I don't want to colour the way I approach this challenge. Although, I will be fair, I've only ever done that once. Watch someone else do a challenge I'm doing ahead of time. That was the Black with Trubbish challenge last year where I was at my wit's end. Though that was more about personal stuff when I had a mouth infection and I was in so much pain. Of course, that was done by Spectre. I was checking that out, and the good news is that if you type "Can I beat Pokemon Black with Trubbish" into YouTube, mine is the second entry that comes up behind Spectre's effort from 4 years ago. The bad news is, mine has 104 views at time of recording, his has nearly 300,000. Oh well. Anyway, it prompted an idea. I don't think anyone else on YouTube has done Seedot and Sunkern in Emerald beyond Papa C. Mah-Dry-Bread did do Emerald with Seedot and Lotad, I do know that, but let's face it, Lotad is a cut above Sunkern to partner Seedot, that's for sure. There has been plenty of individual efforts with both though, I can see that doing a search. Heh, just on another aside, the dual Pokemon run I wouldn't mind doing at some point, and I may still at some point, and I don't know what game it would be in, but that is Abra and Ralts. I did do Machop and Makahita in Emerald, which absolutely horrible, but Abra and Ralts could be fun. I'm not saying it would be Emerald, it could be Fire Red, it could be Platinum. Probably not a Gen 5 game because I don't know how easy it is to get either of those two in that game. So, yeah, food for thought. I hit Lily Cove City and there is a May fight here. And well, I've upgraded my movesets massively, so I'm really ready for her. We are still limited against some types, but probably the best moves we're going to get for coverage anyway. So, I use Sunkern to start the battle and she goes to Tropius, who we nail with a pair of sludge bombs to bring down, as we only get countered with Sweet Scent. Pelipper is next. Cue annoying protect spam as we go for growth and then try to take it out with Giga Drain, but it takes 2 attempts to weaken it thanks to it double using protect. We do get clipped with wing attack and then take it out with return. Combusken is next. We hammer it with 2 sludge bombs and a return to bring it down, only getting damaged by Peck in the interim, before Ludicolo is last. 2 sludge bombs bring it down, we only get hit with Astonish in exchange. I am ready to go back and fight Winona now. I think most of her team shouldn't be too bad, the Skarmory aside. That's really got the potential to be annoying as we don't have a lot to hit steel types neutrally, never mind for super effective damage. Dig aside on Seedot, but obviously that's not going to work on Skarmory. Anyway, I use Kernel and spam growth over and over as Swablu fails with a bunch of mirror moves. We get her to waste the Hyper Potion over the course of this fight as we wear it down with a return, and eventually we bring it down with return and Sludge Bomb, but I do want my special attack to be maxed for Giga Drains. I know it'll be neutral at best and quad resisted at worst, but with our level lead it should still do some damage. Pelipper is next, and cue Protect! We go for another growth, but it doubles down on Protect and blocks our Giga Drain at the first attempt, but not the second attempt. Tropius takes massive damage from Sludge Bomb and hits Aerial Ace. I think she's going to heal and go for another growth. I'm right, as she calls for Synthesis, and we take it down with another Sludge Bomb. I was worried about Skarmory, but 2 Giga Drains bring it down as we get struck with Aerial Ace in retaliation, before Altaria is last. She Dragon Dances on her first turn, as she shrugs off our Sludge Bomb and return before eating the berry. An Aerial Ace leaves us badly weakened and we get taken out with Earthquake, but Acorn can come in, survive the Aerial Ace and fire off the Shadow Ball that takes it down and gives us the 6 badge. I haven't done this yet, so let's talk about the channel. The Let's Play stuff will return at some point. Don't know where, don't know when. I've got a lot of stuff, I just can't be bothered making the thumbnails and uploading them just quite yet. Not sure I will go back to uploading something every day, but there might be 1 or 2 things a week in the future. It's just been challenges and Master Showdown of late. I did complete Batman Arkham Asylum, I did begin Resident Evil 6, but not gone back to it for a while. Something about that game just makes me sleepy, I don't know what it is. I also started playing and I'm currently about halfway through, believe it or not, Buffy the Vampire Slayer Chaos Bleeds. In Master Showdown, we had Nanu versus Marlon. We had Bede versus Blue, and well, about to have Byron versus Elio the day after this likely airs. I'm really thinking at time of writing about buying some more TCG mystery boxes since I really enjoyed doing the videos where I opened up Pokemon cards. It's just a very expensive hobby to take up. We'll see. This is actually audio recording OEFG here. I did buy 2 mystery boxes, just waiting for them to come. I got promised next day delivery on the Tuesday. It's all expected to be delivered by the Friday. That website made a promise they couldn't back up, so we will see. I don't know if this fills me with confidence for the contents of this mystery box or not, but we'll see. Maybe that video will be up by the time this airs. It might be, it might not be, but yeah. I mean, if you want to see somebody opening TCG up really badly, I mean, I do watch a lot of TCG opening on this platform on YouTube, and I do enjoy it, but I'll freely admit mine probably doesn't look as good as the guys who are doing it professionally, so I'm more like a talented amateur at this point, but hey, what's wrong with that? I enjoy doing it, I get a bit of joy out of it, so I can't claim to know a lot about the TCG. I know I can't, but I just, I can't accept that Hollow's not the most valuable thing anymore. I mean, that's just like killed the childhood OAFG because, you know, back when I were a kid, you know, I know I don't want to be one of these that go, oh, back in my day, oh, this, but, you know, Hollow Charizard, it was all about Hollow Charizard back in the day, and I did recently buy one a few months back. It's the first time that I've ever owned one, and I'm quite proud of it. It did cost me a very pretty penny, but that was something I chose to do. So, here we are. It's great having disposable cash as an adult, I'll say that. Challenge-wise, let's get back to what's on the channel. I'm still going on a run of clearing out all my viewers' submissions. There are some interesting ones up ahead, for sure. So, next time is definitely one that could be rough. As it's another viewer submission, I'm going to see if I can beat Pokemon Fire Red, so we're staying in Gen 3. We've only missed his anime team and moves, or at least as close as I can make it. That has potential to be very interesting indeed, and also possibly horrific. Missed his first season anime team, I'll also add by the way, so the team she had when she went through the Kanto region with Ash with. So, no Gyarados, no Politoed, nothing like that. Definitely no Togetic. Hey, I did get to use a Politoed a few weeks back, so it's not like I'm in a rush to do it again. Not a slight on Politoed, I'll also add. As always, if you have any ideas for future challenges, head to the comment section down below, or follow the links in the description to my Twitter or my Discord. I've got most of the year planned out, but there's still a few free slots at the back end of the year. I can't believe we're nearly at the halfway point. When did that happen? We have Maxi next, and I am a little worried because of the Crobat, and also because of the Camerupt to a lesser point, but well, I'm going to have to suck it up and face them. it won't be the hardest opponent we have to deal with in this run for sure. We do lose the first attempt, but the second one plays out better. Colonel uses growth twice and gets hit with Scary Face, Takedown and Swagger in that order, before we drop the Mightyena he sent out first with a Giga Drain to give us an early lead and restore some health. Sunkern fights through confusion and hits a big return to drop Crobat below the half health mark. Maxi heals and we can land another return quickly after to hurt it once again. Maxi heals it again, we hit another return, but this time we get struck with Air Cutter and Colonel goes down, prompting the need for Acorn to come in. Seedot immediately gets confused but blasts Crobat down with a Shadow Ball to bring Camerupt in. We fight through confusion to both use and hit Camerupt with Dig while it misses Takedown and goes for Amnesia, before landing the final blow with Shadow Ball for victory. Right then, time for the normally horrible Psychic Gym, but I've got a good feeling here. Grass types tend to do well in this gym because of the tactics Tate and Liza like to employ. In fact, anything that resists Earthquake tends to do well. I saw it on the Emerald with Katnia run and the Emerald with Paris run to a lesser extent. Xatu does confuse Acorn at the start as we spam growth with Colonel, going for 2 of them. Acorn never hits himself in confusion though, just keeping on spamming Shadow Ball to hit Xatu, and they never quite knock it out but leave it on healing range every single time. So that's what the opponent does. They keep healing Xatu and we have locked them into a cycle as we can focus on the other opponents. When Colonel goes on the attack, we take the Claydol out with a single Giga Drain. Solrock is out next and we've still got Xatu locked in the cycle of healing as we down both Solrock and then Lunatone with Giga Drain to turn the fight into a 2-on-1, and Shadow Ball and Return are enough to bring Xatu down, though it does blast out Psychic as a last hurrah before going down as we take the 7th badge. We have got the Underwater Cavern Archie fight next, and this actually takes quite a few attempts to take victory in, largely thanks to the confusion tactics he employs versus us, which very unhelpful. By the time we've gone through Mightyena and Crobat, we are often weak enough that Sharpedo can come in and outspeed to usually end Acorn with a slash. On the winning run though, Colonel manages to survive the full fight despite getting hit with Scary Face and Swagger, but we do manage to use 2 growths and can heal back most of the damage we've been dealt when we use Giga Drain on Mightyena to bring the Dark Doggo down in 1 hit. Crobat does confuse us straight away when coming out, but we shake it off pretty quickly and lock it into a healing cycle as we smash into it with returns while Maxi keeps spraying it with super potions, but when he does counter attack with wing attack to leave us on a 1/3 of our health, we do soon bring the Crobat down. Sharpedo at the end does land Slash, we survive on 1 HP and then end it with Giga Drain to give us the victory. But Acorn could probably have beaten it anyway at that point if we hadn't survived, so oh well. Water Gym is next, and this definitely shouldn't be an issue. I mean, Kingdra aside, but that thing is never quite as bad as I build up in my head though. I think we should be fine. I always find the gym puzzle more annoying than difficult here. There's quite a few of those in Hoenn, I'm not going to lie. We go for a bunch of growths versus Love Disc with Colonel. And even though we get confused on the first turn with Water Pulse, shock, right? We just keep going for growth because it really can't actually hurt us that much, it would appear. And eventually we shake confusion off and drop it with Giga Drain to put us 1 up in the fight. Celio is next and we go for another Giga Drain to take it down, and the Kingdra is out 3rd. This one is neutral to grass moves and hits us with Ice Beam for good damage, but we can do about 3/4 of its health with Giga Drain to get some health back, and then it starts spamming heals with Rest and Hoenn using the Hyper Potions, which is not always ideal, but at least we're not getting hit. Eventually I use some more growth attacks and we do bring the Kingdra down with a final return while it's on red health, not really getting hit beyond those opening exchanges, which is very nice. Whiscash goes down to our last Giga Drain before we then have to use Return and Sludge Bomb attacks to bring down the Crawdons, which, very much not ideal, but it is what it is. It doesn't take long, we don't really get hurt, and we can move on. In Victory Road, we have the battle with Wally, and while I think we'll win, I don't think it will be an entirely simple fight. He has a varied team and it could be rough in places, we'll have to see. That Altaria at the start might well be a problem, and so I send Acorn out to fight it with Shadow Balls. He goes for a Dragon Dance and Safeguard at the start. We do get hit with Aerial Ace, but can bring it down with 3 Shadow Balls, before we do face Roselia and a barrage of Magical Leaf attacks. He does try to save it with a healing item, but we can soon bring it down with our Shadow Ball attacks, and that's not really an issue, though we are hurting after. We go for a few Synthesis attacks versus Delcatty before it burns us with Assist come Tri-Attack, and though we try to hurt it with Bullet Seeds, the burn damage and repeated attacks soon bring us down, and we have to go into Colonel, who we start to power up with because there's still the worst parts of the fight ahead. We do get put to sleep with Sing after using Growth a bunch of times, but it doesn't stick, and we take Delcatty down with Return, and then Magneton down with Giga Drain, which, always nice, see my previous points about Steel types. I use Sludge Bomb, and if this were Gen 6 that would have been a great idea, but we do poison Gardevoir, and then get poisoned ourselves by its Synchronize ability. It doesn't take long, and it is close, but we do eventually bring his final Pokemon, the Gardevoir, down for victory. Through Victory Road we go then, and I find myself thinking ahead to the Elite Four. The Hoenn Elite Four usually can be annoying. Not difficult to add, but very annoying. Sydney is a hugely irritating opponent with his stat debuffs, Sand Attack and Double Team most prominent on them. Phoebe is well documented about being irritating thanks to Protect Stall and Pressure, but we should have enough to get past them both. We should have enough for the Ice types on Glacier's team, even if the Glalie might be troublesome. Drake is probably going to be unpleasant. I wonder if I'll need Double Team for him at least, because we don't have a lot for Dragon types, short of Brute Force with our physical moves like Return and Sludge Bomb. Wallace might actually be the least problematic of the bunch, believe it or not, and that's the ironic thing. Anyway, it's not long before we are stood in Evergrande City, and here is our dynamic duo. Colonel is level 69, nice, with our special stats and speed being the best stats on her. Special defense, speed, special attack in that order. We don't have a stat in triple figures though, which very worrying. Acorn is level 67 with attack and defense being our best stats. The rest of them are much more balanced, but our speed is really low, which very worrying. Plus Acorn has been consistently outsped by pretty much everything in this run, so take your guesses on if we can do it at this level or not. Right now folks, let's do this. Dark type trainer Sydney is first, and it seems like a cliche at this point, but again the words more annoying than difficult spring to mind. What with the Mightyena and the Shiftry and the Absol and all that malarkey, but hey, we've got to do this, so no time like the present. This is when that hidden power bug type, if that's what it was, might have come in useful. Ah well, it goes badly, as we do manage to make it past Mightyena both times I attempt this, but at the expense of Acorn. And well, the Absol then comes in, Swords Dancers, and ends Colonel with Aerial Ace. This happens twice, so guess we are hitting the grind trail once again then. I do go onto that grind trail then, desperate to try and get some levels. High 60s is probably too low. I think I'm going to grind them both up to level 80. If we're struggling to make it even to the mid-fight with Sydney, we're going to struggle with the rest of the Elite Four for sure, so we need power. Even then, it might not be enough. I even levelled the Zigzagoon Pickup Brigade all to level 21, so that they have a 4% chance of picking up rare candies, just purely to help with the grind later. I grind them both to level 80, and well, I'm hoping this is going to be enough. Let's go and find out. The absolute worst case scenario is that I have to go and grind some more, and I hope it doesn't come down to that, since this took several hours over several days. It takes a few attempts, but eventually we get one where Acorn has a battle with Mightyena, and after several rounds of bullet seeds is able to bring it down. Well, it takes just a while, but Absol does end Acorn. Colonel has to come in and battle Absol, and Colonel does get hurt, but eventually, even after healing, thanks to some growth and some well placed moves, we are able to bring it down. Shiftry tries to spam double team, but we hit it with Sludge Bomb and poison it, prompting another heal, but we soon bring it down with a Sludge Bomb and a return after it uses Torment. Cacturn survives Sludge Bomb on a Sliver, gets poisoned, leaves us on 1 HP with Feint Attack, and then goes down to poison damage. Last is Crawdont, and we hit a Giga Drain to end that quickly. 1 down! Next up is Ghost Trainer Phoebe, the annoying one. Again, it takes a few attempts, largely thanks to the defences of her team and their annoying pressure abilities. Well, 2 of them anyway. But on the winning run, it looks something just like this. Every time I switch from Colonel to Acorn to beat the Protect, but it never quite works out that way, as the first Dusclops double spams it, and it takes several turns to hurt it enough, and then she heals it. We do get hit with a Shadow Punch, but bring it down with Bullet Seed. The second Dusclops we hit with Bullet Seed and then Dig, but it freezes us with its second Ice Beam and takes us out. We use Growth 2 times with Colonel and then end it with Giga Drain, before using Giga Drain and Sludge Bomb to take out the first Bayonet, sneaking another Growth in when it uses Grudge. Sableye goes down to Giga Drain, before the second Bayonet we take out with another Giga Drain. Glacier is harder than she should possibly be. Once again, it takes a few attempts for us to get past her. We try to set up on the first Celio with Growths because we need that Giga Drain to be as super powerful as possible. The danger is if we get hit with an ice move, it's going to hurt. The second Celio has Blizzard, which is devastating if it hits. We take the first 2 Celio out relatively easily on the winning run, where appropriately powered up going into the Wall Rain, but we go for another Growth and then take massive damage from Ice Beam. But we can one hit the Wall Rain with Giga Drain, getting a good chunk of health back. With Giga Drain boosted, we then one hit both of the Glalie in the next 2 rounds to give us a victory over her, since we didn't one hit the first Glalie after only 2 Growths in previous attempts. Drake is absolutely horrific, as there are many efforts where we don't even get past Shelgon. He has 2 flying types on his team in Altaria and Salamence, who already resist our Grass Stab massively, so that is going to be rough. Flygon and Salamence have fire moves too. I did put double team on Acorn, but his Altaria has Aerial Ace, and that is problematic. I even try it with our levels boosted with rare candies, and that doesn't do the job even with them both in the high 80s level wise, so I guess I'm going back on the grind trail once again. I try with both of them at level 95 and it can't be done, so I take that plunge and max both members of my team up to level 100 and we are ready to rock and roll. I have no other tactics, I'm sticking with the moves I've got. I did toy with putting Giga Drain on Acorn, but the max we can have is 8 of them and it's just not enough potentially. So the winning run looks thus. We get 6 double teams up versus Shelgon, while it tries to hit us with moves and spam Protect. We do eventually get hit with a Rock Tomb and a Double Edge, but we can whittle it down with Shadow Balls and Bullet Seeds, bringing it down without much sort of trouble. Flygon is faster, but it does miss 2 Flamethrowers and we take it out with 2 Shadow Balls. We spam Shadow Ball on Altaria, while we get nailed with Aerial Ace attacks. He heals, but we crit and bring it down, and now we're on red health though, as we start to fire Shadow Balls at Salamence. We drop it into red health, but Drake heals, which not ideal, and with it on a third of its health, we run out of Shadow Ball PP, but it proves not to be a problem as we then get hit with a Flamethrower and Acorn goes down after an absolutely wonderful effort. Colonel comes in, we aren't faster than Salamence, even with a 45 level advantage. We shrug off Flamethrower and then drop it with Return. Kingdra is last. We go for broke and just start absolutely spamming Giga Drains on it while it uses Dragon Dance and hits body slams. But soon we can do enough damage to bring it down. Thank goodness. Wallace then, and I'm reasonably confident in what we'll have to do to bring this down. Tentacruel may be an issue, but the rest of the team should be fine. I mean, we have 2 grass types and we are about to face a water specialist. It takes 2 efforts, but we do take the victory, losing the first effort to Wallace's Tentacruel, critting Colonel with Sludge Bomb, and Ludicolo beating Acorn, the former being something I predicted would be an issue earlier. In the winning run, I begin with Acorn and start to set up double teams versus Waylord. If it can keep missing blizzards on us, not a reliable move at the best of times, we're probably laughing. And as a strategy, it kinda works. Right up until one blizzard connects and freezes us. About the only benefit is that it wastes all blizzard power points before taking Acorn out with double edge, as we never defrost. Colonel comes in and we spam growth repeatedly to get the power we need, because one-shotting everything is our best chance. Waylord doesn't stand up to our Giga Drain after 4 growths because we needed health recovery. We go for a 5th versus Milotic, get poisoned with Toxic and then one-shot it with Giga Drain. Tentacruel doesn't crit Sludge Bomb this time, hits us hard with the move and then we nail it with Giga Drain to get some health back. Ludicolo is a one hit with Giga Drain, which, considering I think that it has decent special defense, is nice. Whiscash definitely doesn't stand up to it. And come the end, the last Pokemon, the Gyarados, doesn't withstand it either, and we complete the sweep to take the victory. We've beaten the champion and we can go on to enter the Hall of Fame. Run over. Well, that was a strangely time-consuming run, but I feel somewhat relieved, I'll say it. That was quite hard in places, which is what you want, I guess. If I want it to be easy, then it'd be like, okay, Pokemon Emerald, single Mewtwo, let's get this on, so, nah. But yeah, enjoyable, perhaps not the best word here. Some absolute roadblocks in places, like finding the Seedot at the start, the Flannery fight, the Elite Four, so, well, I think I achieved something here. Thanks for watching, folks, I hope you enjoyed. If you did enjoy, please leave a like, call out with a comment and smash that subscribe button. You know what they say about the YouTube algorithm. Join me again next time for another Pokemon challenge as I take on Pokemon Fire Red with Misty's anime team and moves. Could be brutal, for sure. Well, we're going to find out. No doubt I'll be jumping on that surely at the time of writing, since I'll have slightly under 3 weeks to complete it, record audio and edit the video. At the time of writing, I had 5 days to edit this video, but at least I had done most of the audio recording. Everything up to the start of the Elite Four, so at least that's a good chunk of it out of the way. So, I just counted, there were like 1600 words between the first Sydney effort and the end of the video, so not too bad. I don't mind the audio recording, but sometimes it feels like a big mountain ahead. I'll manage it. And so, we come to the end of another challenge, folks. I'm going to jump off here. Thanks again for watching, folks. Take care. Have a great day, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye. So long. See ya. Take care. Ta-ra.